All right. Chair Schutte, members of the committee, thank you very much for allowing me to testify on this bill. Really appreciate you for having us. We've gone back and forth and worked with stakeholders to make sure that this bill was going to work for everybody. Essentially what we're doing is ensuring that proper enforcement can be made between international bridges between Michigan and Canada. It only applies to international bridges. No other bridges in the state of Michigan are going to be impacted by this legislation. And essentially, it allows for the proper management of that passage, the proper tolling, and working. And in so doing, we worked with the department, the Secretary of State's office. We've worked with all of the stakeholders that have expressed interest in this. To make sure that everybody's on board. We were able to successfully pass it out of the Transportation Committee, which brought it here. And actually, I'll turn it over for more specific details on what that management process actually looks like, why the bill is necessary in order to implement it. And then if any of you have any questions afterward, I'm happy to take it. So with that, why don't you take it away?
Okay, great. Hi, my name's Randy Spader. I'm the Vice President of Operations for the Ambassador Bridge. The importance of this bill is having the ability to collect toll using an open road tolling system, which is what we currently have at the Ambassador Bridge. What that means is our commercial tolling today doesn't have to stop to pay toll. So that helps more efficiency at the border crossing. That helps with the environmental issues of trucks stopping and starting. And it has worked very well. The biggest hurdle that we always have is the collection of those tolls. And this legislation allows us to utilize some information from the Secretary of State to see who the registrant of the vehicles are, so we can properly identify those individuals, get those billings within the timeline that's set within the legislation, and utilize the Secretary of State when necessary when people don't pay for their tolls.
One thing I'd like to add, the biggest thing to take into consideration with this legislation is the critical importance between international travel on efficiency of getting through the tolling system, right? Like in a historical context, you have every car that goes through the border crossing stops and pays their toll and then goes through, and that slows down the flow of traffic. It slows down the flow of goods between Canada and the United States. And so the way that the tolling is being managed right now via video, where vehicles no longer have to stop and pay the toll that way, it makes for a much more efficient economy. It makes for a much more efficient travel experience, and that's critically important. So now the challenge is how do we maintain that efficiency while also ensuring that the drivers are actually paying the tolls. So that's it. With that, we're happy to take questions.
Thank you. Representative Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So does this automatic system allow a vehicle to pay the toll on spot with an app or some kind of subscription? Or is it just collecting the data of the vehicle to turn into the Secretary of State?
It's collecting, it's collecting the data of the information and then utilizing the Secretary of State with license plate registration so we know exactly who to bill.
So is there,
one of the reasons.
I mean, could some of this be, not that this is part of this bill, but couldn't some of this be alleviated by having, my sister has a transponder, so her stuff is paid as she goes through the toll booth and toll roads. And in Chicago, I have apps on my phone, so when I drive to Chicago, I automatically pays it when I hit that.
Yeah, and the individuals that follow the process and know the process are the minimal amount of people. The people that we really are looking for are people who don't follow the process, don't register, don't know the process. And this is also going to help us to get them on the process and also help us with individuals who, don't follow through on the invoices and things that were sent out to them.
Okay. Something that I'll add to that, to your point, the way the bill is drafted, it leaves the agreement up to the management of the company in the state of Michigan. So if the Secretary of State's office decides that they want to negotiate part of the agreement to include something like that, that is within their ability to do.
Good. Thank you.
So this bill involves the Secretary of State promulgating rules. What's your engagement been with the department on what that rule promulgation would look like?
So we've had a lot of back and forth conversations with the Secretary of State's office to ensure that, they were on board with what this was going to look like, along with the stakeholders. So the promulgation of rules process is really defined to what does the agreement look like specifically between the Secretary of State and the manager of the bridge.
Did that involve any discussion of fees or associated with that rule promulgation?
That I'm not aware of. I believe there should be a House fiscal analysis, which to my understanding, there shouldn't be any issue there, as this is an international crossing that the tolls are already being collected. So my understanding is any fees or costs would be nominal.
Okay, so if the Secretary of State contracted, there wouldn't be any. There hasn't been a discussion about any fee that they might impose on that.
Not with me. I'm not sure. I can get an answer.
Oh yeah, that would be helpful. Great, thank you. Any other questions, members of the committee?
All right.
Representative,
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.